Hi guys, now that we have familiarized ourselves with basic working of object-oriented programming in Python, by learning about classes and objects, we can further substantiate our understanding by introducing ourselves to constructors and destructors. During the length of this entire section, we will acquaint ourselves with meaning of constructors, the various types of constructors and destructors, and their importance in the working of any Python program. However, this particular video will mainly focus on constructors. Having set the overview, let's jump right into what a constructor is. In this video, we are going to take a look at the introduction of a constructor and how a constructor will be deployed in a real world program. Introduction of a constructor can be understood by the basic importance of why a constructor is to be used. Constructor is the most special kind of a method in Python programming. It is an integral and necessary part of a program, and it is also always the first method to be defined. Constructor is the first piece of code of any Python program that is executed. It is used to pass the initial values to any parameters that the object may be holding. The constructor's method is executed as soon as an instance of an object is created. Just to understand, we will learn greater role of constructor once we get to know about Python inheritance. But for now, we'll just try and understand how a constructor is to be deployed. The basic method to deploy a constructor is to define it with its syntax, that is def double underscore init double underscore. This is which to be declared under any classes. Along with the def init, you have to self parameterize as it passes a reference instance to the class itself. Additional parameters can be pushed, for example, class model or class year, to send when a new object is to be created. To get a better grip of the definition of the constructor and how it exactly works, I will recall the example of a previous section to explain the syntax, declaration of the constructor, and how it is called through the object to give a preferred output from the program. Let's start with a Notepad++ by creating a new file and saving it into a Python extension. In my case, I have saved the file in E drive with a file name construct.py. A declaration of a constructor is to be done in a class. So first we'll declare a class name car. We'll put a comment section just to make you understand this is a non-parametrized constructor. In the very next line, we'll define the constructor with def double underscore init double underscore open brackets with a parameter self with colon. Define in it with self is a self declaration how a constructor is to be declared. Alongside, you can give any command to the constructor that can be withheld by it. We are putting a simple print command to check if the constructor is initialized properly. On the very next line, we'll also define a method known as model with a self declaration along with its name as a parameter, in which we'll also put a simple print command with the caption my first car. Car name will be initialized to the name variable, which we are going to declare it through an attribute of an object. Alongside, we'll declare an object known as Volvo assigned to the class called car. Below that, Volvo will hold its model as an attribute, which we have declared above as a method, through which we'll send a parameter to its name Volvo S90, which is one of my favorite cars, which I wish to buy it soon. As we have initialized the constructor and saved it, we'll quickly save the file and test the constructor on a simple running it through our command prompt. Once you are into the command prompt, you need to type in Python alongside the directory location where file is saved. In my case, it's in E drive, with the file name construct.py with the Python extension. One of the key points that I want to mention is whenever you're defining init or any other method is please do not use tab button to give spacing. I recommend you to use a spacebar to give 4 type of spaces when you are defining or any section spacing that you want to give into a program. In major cases, you will have a compilation error. To avoid that, I recommend you to avoid the tab button. Now that we have saved the program, let's move to the command prompt and quickly run the program. To run the program, type in Python alongside the location of the file where you have saved the Python program. In our case, it's E drive with the file name construct.py, which is a Python extension. Congratulations, you have declared the constructor successfully and it has been initialized, which calls my first car is Volvo S90. Let's run one more program with a parameterized constructor. To do so, I'll make small changes into the same program. First, we'll change the comment section and let's make it parameterized constructor. With the very next line, we have declared the constructor in it. Alongside, we'll push our name parameters into it. Below that, we'll call for a self name attribute, which we'll assign it to name. The method that we declared as def model will remove the parameter name and keep it as self, which is going to call a print command that is my first car. We need to send the same parameter that we have declared in the constructor, that is self.name. Below that, the object Volvo is assigned to the class. To recall the constructor properly, we'll push a parameter in the class giving it Volvo S90. Volvo model attributes need to be kept empty. Now that we have made minute changes for parameterized constructor, let's save this program and run it into the same way. We are using the same file name as we have saved it, overwrite the previous program by making changes into it. Congratulations, you have just declared a parameterized constructor with a print command, my first car is Volvo S90. Let me explain you in more details how self-declaration of a constructor works. The name of a constructor is always the same and it is returned double underscore init along with the open and close brackets. Talk about the self parameter and other working while referring to the program. We have come to the conclusion to talk about the self parameter and other working while referring to the program. Self declaration makes it initialize with the attributes that we need to call or push it through the class, which we usually assign it or recall it through an object. So instances of an object is initialized with a construct. That is the whole point of using a constructor for initialization purposes. We have come to the conclusion of this video. To understand the syntax, defining constructor is def double underscore init with a self declaration and the example that we gave car model or car year as a parameter alongside with self model, which is assigned to the parameter that we send, that is car model. Second one that we have is a self dot year, which is assigned to a car year. These are the parameters which we push to the constructor in during the initialization. We have come to the conclusion of this video now. There's much to learn about in the coming videos.